Jin has officially returned to South Korea following the highly successful second leg of his Run Seokjin EP tour concert in Chiba, Japan. But it wasn't the arrival fans expected. The usually warm and cheerful eldest BTS member walked out of the arrival gates at Incheon International Airport on Sunday night, dressed in a dark baseball cap, a black oversized hoodie, and a white mask that covered most of his face. While dozens of fans had gathered to welcome him home, holding banners and singing parts of "I'll Be There," Jin didn't stop, wave, or offer the bright smile armies are accustomed to. And that silence is now making noise. He always waves. He always smiles. This time, it felt different. One fan posted on X, formerly Twitter, sharing a clip of Jin walking quickly through the airport surrounded by bodyguards. Within hours, the hashtag #JinWeLoveYou started trending worldwide. Some fans defended Jin's silence as exhaustion after his back-to-back performances in Japan, especially given the emotional weight of the show. The Chiba concert, held on July 6th, marked one of the most emotional stops on his world tour, blending fan interaction, personal ballads, and tributes to ARMY. Many fans in the venue claimed Jin looked on the verge of tears during his final goodbye. "He probably gave everything he had emotionally on that stage," said one fan who attended the Chiba concert. "You could tell it meant the world to him." Still, others can't help but feel something was off. Jin didn't post on Weverse after the flight. He didn't make eye contact with fans at the terminal, and there were no BTS members, staff, or even visible HYBE managers by his side, something rarely seen in previous post-tour returns. "He looked like he was carrying something heavy," one ARMY shared. "We're not trying to pry, but we're worried." Some speculate that Jin may be under immense pressure as the first BTS member to lead a full solo world tour following his military discharge. Others wonder if the silence signals a deeper transition, perhaps internal tension, fatigue from fame, or even the emotional weight of an upcoming BTS group reunion. Whatever the reason, one thing is clear: Jin's silent return has sparked more questions than answers. For a group known for their authenticity and emotional transparency, even a moment of silence feels loud. And as fans continue to flood social media with messages of love and support, many hope that the quiet moment at the airport was just that, a brief pause for breath, not a cry for help. We're here for him. Even when he says nothing, we're listening. The silence that followed Jin's return to South Korea after his Chiba concert was almost louder than applause. As fans gathered at Incheon International Airport late on July 6th, holding up LED banners, handwritten letters, and waving small plush whales, a nod to his beloved abyss symbolism, they expected the familiar warm smile and the signature hand wave he often offered them even from behind a mask. But this time, Jin kept walking. Surrounded by tight security, his steps were brisk, his gaze low, and his mouth hidden. It was a brief moment, but for many armies, it left a lasting ache. Social media erupted within minutes. Clips of his arrival circulated across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, some with added captions like, "Why does this feel like a goodbye?" and "Our moon looked distant today." Fans speculated whether the emotion was simply physical exhaustion after an electrifying tour stop or something heavier, something unspoken. The Chiba concert had already been emotionally charged. Fans who were in attendance described the way Jin lingered longer on stage than usual, bowing deeply, holding the mic to his chest during "I'll Be There," and briefly turning his back to the audience, seemingly to wipe away tears. One fan wrote, "It was as if he didn't want to leave, as if he was saying goodbye without using words." Those subtle but poignant behaviors were still fresh in the minds of fans as they awaited him at the airport. Many recalled how Jin had once said that the stage was the only place where he could feel both fully alive and fully alone. After witnessing such a vulnerable side of him in Chiba, his silence upon arrival felt amplified, and the absence of even a small gesture, no hand wave, no nod, not even a brief pause, hit hard. Adding to the mystery was the complete absence of BTS members, HYBE staff, or any official welcoming party. In past years, even during the busiest schedules, at least one manager or team member would accompany or meet Jin at the terminal. This time, he walked out alone, flanked only by silent bodyguards. No photographers were given advance notice by HYBE, no official press was allowed inside. The return felt unusually discreet, almost private, and fans noticed. Rumors naturally began to swirl. Was he shielding himself from questions about a potential BTS group reunion? Was he exhausted beyond measure? Was something going on internally at HYBE? Was this distance a protective measure after having given too much of himself in Japan? Jin's absence on Weverse only added to the speculation. In previous tour legs, he would often post a quick thank you note or a picture with a playful caption, but as hours passed after his return, there was no update. Armies began flooding the app with messages of love and concern, filling comment sections with phrases like, "Take your time," "Rest well, Seokjin," "You don't have to smile for us, we'll wait until you're ready."
It's not uncommon for artists to seek moments of solitude after emotionally heavy performances. But with BTS, a group whose emotional openness is part of their DNA, even subtle shifts in behavior are read with intense empathy by fans. Jin, often considered the emotional anchor of BTS, has always balanced his humor with hidden depths, his brightness with quiet resilience. That balance now seems tilted, and ARMY can feel it. Perhaps Jin simply needed space. Perhaps he needed to process everything: the roaring crowds of Chiba, the messages of love, the memories of his journey from military duty to solo artist to world tour headliner. Or maybe, as some fans fear, something is stirring beneath the surface that even he hasn't found the words for yet. Either way, the silence doesn't go unheard. It lingers, not as a moment of disconnect, but as a pause in the story. A comma, not a period. And for millions around the world, that moment of stillness has only deepened the love they feel for the man who stood on stage and gave them everything, even when he had nothing left to say. Would you like a follow-up story if Jin posts something on Weverse or makes a statement in the next few days? Hours passed. By the next morning, Jin's silence had evolved into a global conversation. News outlets in South Korea picked up the story with headlines ranging from "Jin returns after Japan concert" to more emotionally charged ones like "Where is Jin's smile?" On fan forums, armies from all corners of the world gathered, not to speculate recklessly, but to process together. The shared feeling was not panic, but collective empathy. "He doesn't owe us a performance at the airport," one army posted on a popular fan site. But it still hurts when someone you love looks like they're carrying the world and doesn't have the strength to meet your eyes. That post was liked over 200,000 times in a matter of hours. Some fans have pointed out how Jin's solo tour, although a dream fulfilled, might also come with a burden. He has always described himself as more of a group person, someone who thrives in the camaraderie of the other 6 BTS members. And now, being alone on stage, leading an entire production by himself, meeting thousands of fans every night without RM's words, Jimin's humor, or Jungkook's mischief beside him, it's a new kind of challenge. A.T. Chiba, Jin poured himself into songs like Running Wild and I'll Be There, tracks that he co-wrote with lyrics laced in longing and solitude. Even when I run far, he sang during the encore, "Will you still wait for me?" Some fans now hear that line differently. As Monday rolled around, HYB released no official statement about his return. No press photos. No welcome home post. Just more quiet. But then, at 10:47 a.m. Korea Standard Time, a single notification buzzed across ARMY's phones. It was a Weverse post. Jin had finally said something. IT was just one word: recharging. Attached was a simple photo, a blurry shot of a warm-colored blanket, the corner of a cup of tea, and the hint of a guitar resting against a wall. No selfies. No captions. Just a soft visual whisper that he's resting, at last. The post immediately triggered a flood of comments. Armies responded not with demands, but with love. Take all the time you need. Your peace matters more than a smile. We'll be here when you're ready, just like always. The post reassured some fans. For others, it deepened the emotional connection. It reminded them that behind the global fame, Jin is still human. Still someone who gets tired. Someone who sometimes doesn't have the energy to be Seokjin, the world star, and instead just wants to be Jin, a man in a hoodie walking through an airport, carrying the silence of 1,000 cheers. And in that silence, ARMY is listening louder than ever. Whether Jin's mood that night was exhaustion, reflection, or the emotional weight of a beautiful tour leg completed, one thing is certain: his story continues, not with noise, but with honesty. And when he returns to the stage, or to the screen, or simply to a brighter day, ARMY will still be there. Quiet, patient, present. Because sometimes love means noticing the absence of a smile and offering one in return.